a hoe looking down the road is kinda dangerous. Love has made me numb and now I'm painless. I don't have another way to paint this. Just looking for a way out.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to DBZ and YT, guys. And today we're going to be doing a top 10 list. So without further ado, this is top 10 things Dragon Ball Super can do better with. At the number 10 spot, we have improving upon characters. Now, I know this is a little bit of a vague description for this slot, but I'm going to go ahead and elaborate on it now. All throughout Dragon Ball Super, there are tons of different characters with interesting backgrounds, character designs, and points of origin. Despite that fact, there are a lot of characters in Dragon Ball Super that are seemingly shallow. A great example of this in Dragon Ball Super are Goten and Trunks. Now, it seems as though Goten and Trunks within the realm of Dragon Ball Super have been seemingly stagnant as characters. And this statement is even equally true with their level of power. Progressing forward in the episodes in Dragon Ball Super, it becomes blatantly apparent that Goten and Trunks have no real motivation to do anything within Dragon Ball. The closest we get to them actually doing anything significant in the show is in the Copy Vegeta arc, and even then it was of no real consequence to the story. It was a filler arc, and the Copy Vegeta arc really had nothing to do with the main storyline. And even with being placed in a situation like that where they almost witnessed the complete erasure of Vegeta from existence, they really don't change from beginning of the arc to the end of the arc. It also becomes increasingly difficult to pinpoint any real character development within the show, not knowing any of the characters' wants, needs, or feelings towards anything. And that statement may be a little bit of an exaggeration. There are points and times where we do get some thought or some feeling from certain characters, but all in all, it does tend to be shallow. As it stands now, I think it's fair to say that our most in-depth character in the show is Vegeta.
Only a failure abandons his principles and pride!
At the number 9 spot, we have creating arc formulas that are less predictable. When Dragon Ball Super was first airing, it became increasingly predictable what was going to happen next. Some arcs had their surprises, like the Tournament of Power with Goku having Ultra Instinct, which at that point broke the internet. Even at that point, I think we could all agree that the ending of the TLP was completely predictable. With Goku finally using Ultra Instinct to best Jiren and Universe 7 winning the Tournament of Power, I think we can all agree that that was the ending that we were expecting. At number 8, we have minimizing the transformations and focusing more on the characters' power themselves. Dragon Ball Super gave us a whole slew of transformations for Goku and Vegeta. In my opinion, I think it'd be cooler to see them master the transformations that they already have as opposed to gaining new ones. But as we know, transformations are a staple of the Dragon Ball franchise, so there's no end in sight for them. At number 7, we have expanding upon the world building. With 13 new universes being added to Dragon Ball Super, I think it's incredibly criminal that we have not seen more of each of these universes. In my experience of watching anime, Dragon Ball probably has one of the most expansive universes I've seen. With that being said, I think it'd be very interesting for us to explore some of the universes and see some of the planets and different species that can inhabit these planets. I think a great place to start with this would be in going to visit planet Sadala, whether that be Goku, Vegeta, or somebody else going to visit Sadala and seeing what the Saiyans there are like would be a great start. I think a lot of us are curious after the introduction of Kale, Caulifla, and Kappa. Number 6, when transformations were revealed, focus on making them meaningful and impactful. Now, with saying this, I'm really only targeting one specific transformation that I think they did a bad job with revealing and making impactful. That transformation being Super Saiyan Blue. Now, I know there's a lot of hate going around with Super Saiyan Blue in the community. I don't mean to add to it, but upon Super Saiyan Blue being initially introduced into the show, I do feel like its reveal was lackluster. Adding on to that, its significance in the show and its power level began to diminish over the course of the show itself. All throughout the show, as we were introduced to different enemies, it seemed like any and everybody could stand up to Super Saiyan Blue. Every other character was on par or fighting with Goku when it shouldn't have really been that way. It seemed to me that Goku was doing just as well in fighting in Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan God as he was when he was fighting in Super Saiyan Blue. At number 5, we have consolidating the storyline of the manga and the anime. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way, but the fact that Dragon Ball Super manga and the Dragon Ball Super anime don't match up kind of bugs me. As it stands, I feel as though Dragon Ball Super manga and then Dragon Ball Super anime could be two completely different shows. With that being said, it can get confusing to the community when there are technically two canons for the show. There are a lot of anime casuals that have a tough time distinguishing which one is the authority. With that, it can be difficult to track characters, as some of the characters in the manga tend to be portrayed a little bit differently as the characters in the anime. At number 4, we have switching up the animation styles in Dragon Ball. Now, I think we can all agree that when Dragon Ball Super first aired, the beginning episodes of the show had some really bad animation.
What is that? Oh, shit.
Although the animation quality did increase over time, I would still say that the Dragon Ball Super animation doesn't exactly fit Dragon Ball Z. At this point, I think something more similar to the Shinati style would benefit Dragon Ball Z more. At number 3, we have making death significant again in Dragon Ball. Since around the Buu saga, death has really been something that hasn't been really feared in the Dragon Ball community. Die-hard fans and casuals alike do all know that the Dragon Balls are the cheat code to death. And in any real dire situation, we all know that the Z Fighters have the Dragon Balls to fall back on. Although nobody really wants to see their favorite characters die, and I can almost guarantee you that most of us will miss some of the Z Fighters if they were to permanently die, I can say they would add depth, impact, and meaning to each of the fights that they had if something was at stake. Now, that's not to say that their lives aren't at stake at any other point in time, but like I said, death is a lot less significant in Dragon Ball than in any other show that I've seen. So with that being said, it doesn't really hit me in the heart like anything else would in any other show. At number 2, we have reverting Goku's character back to the way it was in Dragon Ball Z. Now, some of you may not agree, but I think Goku's character in Dragon Ball Z was a lot more complex and a lot more in-depth than his character in Dragon Ball Super. In Dragon Ball Super, it does really seem like Goku's character is only interested in fighting strong enemies. And in my own humble opinion, I do think it was a downgrade going from the Frieza saga with Goku announcing that he was the hope of the universe, going to the TOP when he was in Ultra Instinct saying that he wasn't a hero of justice or anything. Goku denouncing his role as a hero of justice just seemed not to fit his character at this point. All throughout the Dragon Ball franchise, Goku seems to fight for what's right, fight for the Earth, and protect the people he loves. I think if we can get back to that, that'd be leagues better than the childish, nonchalant attitude he has currently. At the number 1 spot, we have the thing that most hindered Dragon Ball Super's greatness: power scaling. It's a well-known fact by this point that Dragon Ball Super's power scaling is out of this world. Even going back and watching the show for my 3rd or 4th time, it's hard to place certain characters above or below certain other characters on the power level list. At this point, even feats within the show can't even be used as accurate detailing of how strong a character is or isn't. Using feats alone as it currently stands, I could argue that Krillin is almost Super Saiyan Blue level, or at least low-tier Super Saiyan God level, based off of the fact that he fought Goku in the anime while Goku was a Super Saiyan Blue and gave him a pretty tough time. Now, obviously that statement is complete and utter trash, but based off of what I'm saying, you can see where the problem comes in with the inconsistency in power scaling in the show. Even with Goku holding back to 50% of his power, it should be fairly easy for him to knock Krillin into next week, considering how much stronger Super Saiyan Blue is than any other transformation that he's had. Even characters like Gohan shouldn't be reaching the realm of God that Goku has achieved at this point in the anime. Say what you want, but with the way that Goku and Vegeta were presented in the Dragon Ball Super anime, they should have been pretty much crapping on anybody that they came into contact with the exception of stronger people like Jiren or maybe even Hit. With that being said, that does it for our top 10 list. Thank you guys for watching my video. That was top 10 things that Dragon Ball Super can do to make their anime better. What do you guys think? I'd really like to know. Leave a comment below. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. Like the video, follow me on Instagram at DBZ. I thank you guys for all your love and support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.